So I was gonna do a video about 1290 days, and so if you see here, the one that created the Book of Gematria, or at least claims name to it, was talking about this oil pipeline,
The proof
like
for what
Great Lakes oil tragedy
I'm saying
pipeline.
can be found as it is written. The proof for what I'm saying can be found as it is written.
It's confirmed by the Word.
The Father showed me this. He showed it to me. Enbridge, oil pipeline leak, 215 1290.
Well,
The Jewish doesn't apply to this.
right, because we maneuvered it around, but 1290, an oil leak, an oil pipeline deterioration. Here's how it's confirmed by the Word. What is oil? What is a pipeline? Pipeline is something continuously, a continuous flow, and oil can be many things, but a deterioration. When you got the number 1290, and if you just head to the seven, well, let's just do it like this to make it more clear. 1948. $70 are determined, and then like why are we still here? What's the deal? Well, the first thing you do is this: go with 1260 days at first. That'll take you to October 26, 2021. If you go back to March of this year, I had some special guests on my show. As you see, everybody's commenting there. And so basically what the title was, special guest Derek Bros coming soon, like live, with absolutely no proof. I don't have any proof. So I would do the same thing. I would show up on people's channels and just say hello and make myself known on their channel.
Well, it's almost like being a good boss, telling your employees that they're doing a good job and treating them right.
Yeah.
If you don't treat your employees with respect and tell them they're doing a good job, well, they're not going to do a good job.
Yeah. Did Derek ever tell you that you did a great job?
No, he hasn't told me yet. Yeah, he said he might leave a PS in my paycheck next time.
That's cool.
I wish, dude. I wish, but
so I didn't have any proof of that. But it did take 1260 days from that point on to get the confirmation where, when you mentioned speaking to me was confirmation, it was at 33:29 into your video, because I was talking to Derek on the phone, not on my channel, but communication was what I had absolutely no proof of. That at some point in time, I'm going to be talking to Derek Bros. Now, why do I feel like that? It's just the way I felt, so I said it. Doesn't matter how or why, I had absolutely no proof, and something came true. Because he was a special guest over my telephone. And then at 33:29, when I'm talking about it, what it does for me, and to now finally talk to Derek on the phone, that wind up being, it is a confirmation to, we'll say it's the 14th. So if you go the length of Steve's video, 33:29, and I can't make this stuff up because I just talk about whatever. Sometimes I'll ramble on so much on it. It's not like I'm looking at the time like, all right, well, exactly 32 minutes in, I'm going to say this. So that's the 70th year anniversary. So to me, after 1260 days, that's what it meant to me was We're heading towards the end here because what I said was if we're at the end, then that's when I would expect to talk to Derek Bros somehow. So that took place on October 26th. Fast forward 30 more days, you have Thanksgiving. 1290 days, the daily sacrifice being taken away. And what is the daily sacrifice? It's also a daily provision. It's also, if you're doing something on a daily basis, like Kim basically gets up and does videos just about daily. And so he's given his time, he's sacrificing his time to do it. And I feel like more recently, he's had a different desire to actually do it than what was intended in the beginning. But Kim is, you see him all over the place on my titles. Even up 2 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months. You got Kim over there, and Skip over there, Kim there. Kim is there 4 months ago. I basically started getting onto Kim back in, I know, like 4 or 5 months ago. Because I don't really see him from this point on. I don't really see him 5 months back. Nah, he wasn't on my radar 5 months ago. Nope. But something that you do daily will be taken away. It could be the internet, it could be YouTube taking away the daily sacrifice, something that people do on a daily basis. The daily sacrifice, I heard Steve talking about that being the dollar bills. And whether you believe that or not, it doesn't matter, because what they tell you is what's going to happen with those dollar bills. And the other confirmation that would be true, 1290 days from that time. Number one, it lands on Thanksgiving. Again, years on back, I heard Steve SJD talking about getting rid of the thanks and the giving. The thanks and the giving, meaning thanks, giving, and giving, like Christmas. Both holidays will be not so much done away with, but as it won't be like anything ever before. So if the money collapses on that day, it is on Thanksgiving. It is 1290 days from the 70th year anniversary. I got my little nugget, just a little nugget for me on the 1260th day, and then the 1290th day.
It's not something that would apply in the Jewish. I mean, although the number could be related.
In the Jewish, meaning I would take that as the money. The money is what, when that money is not worth anything anymore, then anybody that had bukus of dollar, see that 666 at the end? That's going to be a tough time for them mentally, but a freaking one hell of a day for me.
But I doubt.
Because I don't have it anyway, and it would be better if nobody else had it either.
I don't know. I don't care. All I'm worried about is that number and that number when it comes to Enbridge oil pipeline leak. 90 to scatter, to disperse.
Scatter, disperse. Oh wait, what does disperse mean opposed to scatter? So disperse means to scatter, disseminate, distribute to others who don't have, to spread, to gather. Opposition is to gather. So to scatter the prey, the spoil, the riches, not like getting rid of them, but distributing them to those that need it more. What does the name disperse mean? Some common synonyms of disperse are dispel, dissipate, scatter, while all these words mean to cause to separate or break up. Disperse implies a wider separation of a complete breakup of a mass of money or a group. When can dispel be used instead of disperse? What is the definition? To drive or send off in various directions. Scatter. To scatter the prey and the spoil. To disperse a crowd. Yeah, I mean, you can get rid of a crowd real quick when they're not getting paid anymore. They vanish. To spread widely, disseminate, to disperse knowledge. You can disperse knowledge too on that day. 1290, to disperse, cause to vanish. See that? The wind dispersed the fog. Cause particles to separate uniformly through a solid, liquid, or gas. Disperse knowledge. Let's go over to the Hocus Pocus book. But this is a real code. I got to give it to the people that did it because real codes are in there. This would be the best chance to be God. Praise be to God. Midnight Riders. Thomas Chosen, the great fire dragon. Or the election, the big picture. Just don't claim to be God. Or just stop doing that. Gold dust. Gold dust. The dust of money, like the gold, silver, is cankered. A council of 9. There's 9. If there's 9 apostles, but 3 of them are women too, and there's 3, so there would be like 9, and then, or would there be 6? 9 men and 3 women. But I heard at one point there could be 9 and 3 women. Well, it would be 12 because it's male and female. Names itself: May Child, 10 nations, King of Cups, get into shape, May Child. I'll go over here to 1290. 1290 over in English there. Joseph Robin Biden, Satan America President, Joe Biden, Satan, true. Code red, Satan is in the flesh. You need a spark of belief, Satan, global rise, biblical Satan President, Satan, a Scorpion, Joe Biden. I take it Satan is Joe Biden, and according to this 1290. Satan, a Scorpion, Joe Biden, 1290. Biden, devil, Satan, Lucifer. But the one really truly behind the mask is what they're talking about. November 20 birth. The mark, prophecy, name, Joe Biden, the Catholic beast, carefully ripped scam. Joseph Biden, pure evil, is absolutely Satan. I am the devil, Joseph Biden. Warning, accept God, Satan. Barack Obama banned from heaven, so he was cast out. So whoever's under that mask is the one that's cast out. Barack Obama, Epstein Island, Satan likes nice children. Joe, you know I won, right? Satan touches people, drinking blood ritual. God is laughing at you. Satan being born in November. Horrible child sacrifice. November, Antichrist. 1290 days. Taking away the daily sacrifice. Biden, Harris, pure evil, Joe Biden, November birth. Mark of November birth. Awesome. Looks like Joe Biden's going away at the same time. November Antichrist, who is twin flames. Pyramid electricity. those pyramids get struck by like lightning or something, the Twin Towers, Liberty 1 and 2, Saturday Night Live, Nothing Can Stop Us. Is using gematria a sin? No, it's not a sin. Only if you're trying to trick somebody. So it looks like we have a mark of November birth. November Antichrist. It ties in with 1290 days from the 70th year. Israel, it happens to land on Thanksgiving. And also,
the holiday Thanksgiving thing is coming up. Johnny is always under a pretty solid amount of pressure, trust me. Anyway, so I want to have this chat. The end of the world is coming. You will be throwing your gold and silver in the street. I guarantee it. If you're here.
There you go. Thanksgiving's coming up. You will be throwing your gold and silver in the street coming up. If you're here, I guarantee it. The other connection, Steve's talking about it. 1290. This is so it can be confirmed by the word.
Burst. To scatter abroad. Scattered. Okay.
Let me just go at 10 here, because I read all up to 9. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who was named Belteshazzar, and the message was true, and one of a great conflict. But the time was appointed was long. But he understood the message and had an understanding of the vision, because the message was true, and one of great conflict, and it was a great conflict. It concerned a great war. It was true. It was about a great conflict. And in those days, I, Daniel, have been mourning for 3 entire weeks. In those days, 3 weeks, from the 25th, November's, what is that, 30 days in November, I think it is. 5. Somewhere around the 14th of December-ish. I did not eat any tasty food, nor did meat or wine enter my mouth. So there's no going out to the bars, no more fast food, tasty food, delicacies, meat, nor wine touched my lips. So it looks like from that time on would be a fast from not eating any tasty food, nor did meat or wine enter my mouth, nor did I use any ointment at all until the entire 3 weeks were complete. I ate no pleasant bread. So you're not receiving any truth of anything. Maybe the YouTube channel's completely shut down. Maybe YouTube itself is shut down. And it's just 3 weeks of, no communication. But if the economy collapses with the money system and it's scattered to spray it and the spoil, well, nor did I use any ointment at all. Nor did I anoint myself at all for 3 whole weeks. I used no lotions at all until the 3 whole weeks were over. Nor did I anoint myself at all. So it sounds like the way all these are with that way is no masturbation for 3 weeks. On the 24th day of the first month, while I was by the bank of the great river, I looked up my eyes. Well, let's see what. The first month. On the 24th day of the first month. So I always seen it as if there's a major change in the world, like money completely collapses, then that's the beginning of the new world. It's been ordered from that day on. Because in order to collapse dollar bills that we are so used to our entire lives, I'm going to say that's world changing. And from that point on, it could be 24 days from that point on. It's a stretch. I'm not saying it's what I actually believe, but I'm throwing the numbers out there. But from that point on, if that's the case, well, then obviously it's going to be a blessing to wait until the New Year's 9 days after from that 1,335th day. Because let's say 11/11 comes around. "14 days. You wait other 7 days. You put the dove out, the raven or something. You wait another 7 days, and then with the economy collapsing with the dollar bills, that would mean that this arrangement, this peace ordinance, what's the point of taking money when it's going to collapse? So whatever you're doing for whatever it is, if people are trying to get you to do something in order to get a boatload of money, I mean, you can dump the money. You can dump a boatload of money in my backyard, but there's no signing of anything, because if it's there, it's there. If the economy fully collapses, then what good is it anyway? But can you imagine doing something that you're going to regret doing because you're getting a money deal, and then not only 2 weeks later, the whole entire system collapses on you? Maybe this is the payoff. Maybe even the 15th. Maybe the 42nd month. And then it would just be a 10-day tribulation period, because everybody's getting paid from this point on. Everybody receives their inheritance. All the evil deeds that took place. It is 14,400 minutes in between the timeline of a 10-day tribulation period. I mean, it's a pretty, I never seen that before by looking up 10 days. But that's perfection right there. Some of you will be thrown into prison for 10 days. And then on the 1290th day, the November Antichrist, when he gets rid of the daily sacrifice. So I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there was a certain man dressed in linen, whose waist was girded with a belt of pure gold and Uphaz. His body also was like beryl. His face had the appearance of lightning. His eyes were like the flaming torches. His arms and feet were like gleam of polished bronze, and the sound of his words was like a multitude. He had a whole lot of people. Now I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, while the men who were with me did not see the vision. Nevertheless, the great dread fell on them. So even though you don't see it, it's like, yeah, Robin, you saw, oh my God, you know how many times you said, like, hurry up, economy, collapse already. From the time that you hopped on YouTube, it's going to happen. But nevertheless, a great dread fell on them. They fell, trembling fell on them. Such terror overwhelmed them, and they fled and hid themselves. He who flees from the fear of the noise is going to fall into a trap. So I was left alone. All by myself, I was left alone, and saw this great vision. Yet no strength was left in me, for my natural appearance, my radiant appearance, was cheerfully changed, was deathingly pallor, and I retained no strength. I was helpless, turned me into corruption, and I was powerless. So I had no power. But I heard the sound of his words. And as soon as I heard the sound of his words, So one comes first and then the other comes also. I fell into a deep sleep on my face and my face to the ground. The angel's prophecy of Persia and Greece. Then behold, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. And he said to me, O Daniel, a man highly esteemed, understand the words that I am about to tell you, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood up trembling. So the first month and the 24th day of the first month. Now, Thanksgiving is 25th. 24 full days also lines up with 25. But he said to me, do not be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart on understanding this and on humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia was withstanding me for 21 days. Then behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the king of Persia. So this is the angel is talking to Daniel about the prince of Persia, the kingdom, and Michael coming to help him. So it's like two witnesses. One of the chief princes came to help me, for I had been left there. Withstood me 21 days, but Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I was left there with the kings of Persia, because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Now I've come to give you an understanding of what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision pertains to the days yet in the future. When he had spoken to me according to these words, I turned my face toward the ground and became speechless. I was mute. There was no more. Like if they shut your channel off, you're done. You're mute. You're speechless. And behold, one who resembled a human being was touching my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spoke and said to him who was standing before me, O my Lord, as a result of the vision, anguish has come upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how such can a servant of my Lord talk with such as my Lord? Like how can my Lord's servant talk with my Lord? How can I, your servant, talk with you? How can someone like me, your servant, speak with someone like you, my Lord? See, it's Lord, Lord, lowercase. You have landlords, you have the Lord of the land, the Lord of command. Then this one with human appearance touched me again and strengthened me. He said, O man of high esteem, do not be afraid. Peace be with you. Take courage and be courageous. Now, as soon as he spoke to me, I received strength and said, May my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you understand why I came to you? Do you understand? Do you know why I've come to you? Do you know the reason behind all this? Because soon I will return to fight against the prince of Persia, and when I go, the prince of Greece is about to come. The prince of Greece will come. However, I will tell you what is inscribed in a writing of truth. Yet there is no one who stands firmly with me against these forces except Michael, your prince. So this is, O man, highly esteemed, do not be afraid, peace be with you, take courage. Now, as soon as he spoke to me, I received my strength. So this is not Michael talking to him, because he's talking about afterwards Michael your prince. But I will tell you what is inscribed in the book of truth. There is none who contends by my side against these, except Michael, your prince. He's telling Daniel, that's your prince, Michael. So Michael sounds like the angel is Gabriel. I don't think it actually says that. Now, so this one, that's a long chapter. So the overthrow of Persia, Daniel 11. In the first year of Darius, this is when Darius took over. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and Daniel's God delivered him, and Darius knew it. And I rose to be an encouragement and a protection for him, for Darius. And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings are going to arise in Persia. So as this was being played out, like someone talking to Trump, and it's like, behold, Trump, 3 more kings are going to come up. Biden, the next one that takes over for him, and then the final one. Then a 4th will gain far more riches than all of them. And also behind the scenes, you have, well, you got Trump, you got Biden, you got Obama, and you got Kamala or Hillary. Well, they would be. So anyway, a 4th will gain far more riches than all of them. As soon as he becomes strong, though his riches, he will arouse the whole empire against the realm of Greece. So as soon as he becomes strong, his riches he will stir up everyone against the kingdom of Greece. The overthrow of Persia. And a mighty king will arise, and he will rule with great authority and do as he pleases. But as soon as he has arisen, his kingdom will be broken up and parceled out toward the 4 points of the compass, though not to his own descendants, nor according to his authority which he wielded, for his sovereignty will be uprooted and given to others besides them. Kings of the south and the north. So you get the 2. King of the south, king of the north. I think you got Enki and Enlil. I think. And will grow strong along with one of his princes. So if you can think of anybody that fits like a prince role, that's getting ready to get the 666 power, anybody that's connected with that number, or if you know the number of his name, like if you know the Cain's birthmark, and if you know the number of the name or the number, or of what it is, the beast, if you know that it's the mark of Cain, which is a new birthmark being plucked up and replanted, then who will gain ascendancy over him and obtain dominion? His dominion, his domain will be a great dominion indeed. So that's the king of the south. Then the king of the south will grow strong along with one of his princes. So somebody down south has a prince. The angel of the bottomless pit has a prince that's going to grow strong. The king of the north would be referring to the Lord God in heaven. So I see it like this. There can be 2 Lord gods playing this thing out. One of them is in the literal heaven that claims to be the Lord God because that's where he lives. And then the other one being the angel of the bottomless pit, being down here claiming to be the Lord God because this is his earth, like he owns it. And after some years, they will form an alliance, and the daughter of the king of the south will come to the king of the north to carry out a peaceful arrangement, like on November 11th, 2021. But she will not retain her position of power. So she, who is the daughter of the king, who can also be the prince at the same time, the prince of the king of the south, will come to the king of the north to carry out a peaceful arrangement. So this daughter could come to the actual king of the north, meaning God, like the Spirit, Christ, but also coming to the actual one of the north to come to carry out a peaceful arrangement. But she will not retain her position or of power, because the power somebody gets taken over. They're destroyed neither in anger nor battle. But she will, nor will he remain with his power. When Jonathan came to Saul, and they're both, it's like, we're not going to be in charge, right? This is going to destroy both of us. But she will be given up, along with those who brought her in, and the one who served her as well, and her attendants, he who fathered her, and he who supported her in those times. So she will be given up, along with those who brought her in, and the one who supported her in those times, together with her royal escort and her father, and the one who supported her. But one of the descendants of her line will arise in his place, and he will come against their army and enter the fortress of the king of the north, and he will deal with them in a display of great strength. Also their gods with their gold, their gods with their metal images, and their precious vessels of silver and gold, he will take into captivity. So if you take that into captivity on the 1290th day to Egypt, so if you take it to Egypt, carry them off to Egypt, and he on his part will refrain from attacking the king of the north for some years. The king of the north won't be attacked for some years. Could be days, could be years, could be both. Then the latter will enter the realm of the king of the south and will return to his own land. So I'm just going to look at it as king of the south being the angels of the bottomless pit, and the king of the north being Jesus of Nazareth. And then the prince on his behalf, Marduk, Enki and Lil Marduk. His sons will mobilize and assemble a multitude of great forces, his sons. And one of them will keep on coming and overflowing and pass through, that he may again wage war up to his very fortress. So the king of the south will be enraged and go forth and fight with the king of the north. Now that's the trick. You may think he may fight against the king, but this is just a translation of some other Bible. And this one says that he will fight against the king. This says he will fight with the king. This says he'll come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. What happens when you fight with somebody? Well, you can fight with them, or you can fight with them. Now, who will fight with the king of the north, who will raise a large army, but they will be handed over to his enemy. When the multitude is carried away, his heart will be lifted up, and he will cause tens of thousands to fall, yet he will not prevail. For the king of the north will again raise a great multitude than the former, and after an interval of some years, maybe 42 months, could be 3.5 years, he will press on with a great army and much equipment. Now in those days, many will rise up against the king of the south. The violent ones, they may even shut his YouTube channel down, may have to go somewhere else. The violent ones among your people, even that could just be the script that he played out himself. The violent ones among your people will also lift themselves up in order to fulfill the vision, but they will fall down. They're going to fail. The king of the north will come, cast up a siege ramp, and capture a well-fortified city, and the forces of the south will not stand their ground, not even their choicest troops, for there will be no strength to make a stand. Remember, there's a 21-day period of this thing taking place. But he who comes against him will do as he pleases, and no one will be able to withstand him. He will also stay for a time in the beautiful land with destruction in his hand. So for a time, that could be a year, could be as 365 days, or it just could be a day. And he shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his hand, because a day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. He will set his face to come with the power of his whole kingdom, bringing with him a proposal of peace, which he will put into effect. He will also give him the daughter of women to ruin it. But she will not take a stand for him or be on his side. Then he will turn his face to the coastlands and capture many. But a commander will put a stop to his scorn against him. Moreover, he will repay him for his scorn. So it says, but a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him. So he will turn his face toward the fortress of his own land, but he will stumble and fall and be found no more. Then in his place one will arise who will send an oppressor through the jewel of his kingdom. Yet within a few days he will be shattered, though not in anger nor battle. So there's that last person that gets destroyed, but within a few days he's destroyed. Because then shall arise in his place one who shall send an exactor of tribute for the glory of the kingdom. His successor will send out a tax collector to maintain the royal splendor. In a few years, however, he will be destroyed, yet not in anger or in battle. So that's a few years, this is a few days. It could be a few years, it could be a few days, but within a few days, he'll be shattered. Not in anger, nor even in battle. I say he's destroyed through the love of God. In his place, a despicable person will arise. So, a despicable person. In his place shall arise a contemptible person to whom royal majesty has not been given. He will be succeeded by a contemptible person, by a despised person, despicable. Now, this is according to perception. It automatically makes it seem like it's a horrible person because it's despised, is despicable, but Christ was despised as well, and they called him despicable. But let's see how the context plays out. Because in his place, the person that's going to be destroyed in a few days, if you're looking at it, this peace arrangement deal happened in a few days before that, then we get to this point. Then that would line up with him turning his face against his fort of his own land, but he shall stumble, because after 3 days, let's say the second 9/11 takes place on Monday, November 15, 2021, and that was the event that was supposed to go in a direction where that one stands up at the end, but he's destroyed within a few days because it doesn't have the same effect. Then in his place, like taking over his place, one will arise who will send an oppressor through the jewel of his kingdom, yet in a few days shall be destroyed and shattered. So he will turn his face against the forces of his own land, and he will be destroyed. So you got to keep up with who this is here. But a commander will put a stop to his scorn. He will set his face, he, king of the north, king of the south, the prince for his own behalf. And in his estate, this says in his place, this says in his estate. That could be in his estate, like his family orientated people. But this, by saying in his place, this is just somebody that's taken over his place. One whom the honor of kingship has not been conferred, but he will come in a time of tranquility and seize the kingdom by intrigue. All right, so this is someone that's going to be speaking flatteries, and flatteries isn't something that Christ speaks. The overflowing forces will be flooded away before him and shattered, and also the prince of the covenant. After an alliance is made with him, he will practice deceitfully, and he will go up and gain power with a small force of people. In a time of tranquility, when the richest providence feels secure, 11:11, peace deal, and then after the fact, when they feel secure, because what you believe, what you're told, in time of tranquility, he will enter the richest parts of the realm, and he will accomplish what his fathers never did, nor his ancestors. He will distribute plunder, booty, and possessions among them. So he will scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches. So he will scatter the riches.
First, to scatter abroad, scattered. Okay. And 2:15, which cannot be uttered, not to be uttered, not expressed in words. Speak, say, tell, talk, utter, preach.
And he will devise his schemes against strongholds, but only for a time. He will stir up his strength and courage against the king of the south with a large army, so that the king of the south will mobilize an extremely large and mighty army for war, but he will not stand, for schemes will be devised against him. For plots shall be devised against him. Those who eat his choice food will destroy him. Those who eat his food will break him. Those who eat the king's provision will try to destroy him. Will break him. Shall destroy him. Shall try to, and break. Definitively break him. Will try to, doesn't sound like they did, but his army will be swept away, and many will fall in battle. His army could be swept away, they could be captivated, taken into captivity, fall down, slain by the word of God. But either way, they're going to be slain. As for both kings, their hearts will be intent on evil, like in the beginning, as they will speak lies to each other at the same table, but it will not succeed, for the end is still to come at the appointed time. I just look at it as stories bouncing back and forth, can bounce back and forth from 3.5 years. Then he will return to his land with much plunder, but his heart will be set against the holy covenant, and he will take action and return to his own land. Holy covenant. I mean, the king of the north will return to his own country. So this is giving you a description saying that it's the king of the north will return to his own country with great wealth, but his heart will be set against the holy covenant. Now, which holy covenant? Are you talking about the host body holy covenant, or that holy covenant, Jesus Christ, and that covenant? And he will take action and return to his own land. At the appointed time, he will return and come into the south. But this last time, it will not turn out the way it did before. At the appointed time, he shall, so let's say the king of the north returns to his own country. A rapture takes place. They go up there 40 days, and then coming ready to come back down to destroy everything down here on earth. But at the point of time, he will invade the south again. But this time, the outcome will be different from what it was before. As I was saying, the king of the south, the angel of the bottomless pit, winds up, instead of destroying planet Earth, he's actually here to save it. The tyranny of the western king. For ships of Kittim will come against him. Therefore, he will be disheartened and will return and become enraged at the holy covenant and take action. So he will come back and show regard for those who forsake the holy covenant. He shall turn back and pay attention to those who forsake. He will return and show favor to those who forsake the holy covenant or the holy covenant. Forces from him will arise, desecrate in sanctuary fortress, and do away with this regular sacrifice. So arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that makes it desolate. So there you go, taking away the daily sacrifice. Verse 31. How long? Many will be purged, purified, refined, but the wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand, but those who have insight will understand. From the time that the regular sacrifice is abolished, the abomination of desolation is set up, will be 1,290 days. So from the time that it takes to get to this day, from the time it takes to get for the abomination of desolation to be set up and the daily sacrifice taken away, well, after the 70th year, it's going to take some time. You got the power to act. The Antichrist has to figure out the Christ, zero in on that spirit alone, and then because it's 1,290 days of work, it takes from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away and the abomination that makes it desolate to set up, it's going to take 1,290 days. So you got to give it 1,290 days. How blessed is he who keeps waiting and attains the 1,335th day. So you're thinking from that point on, we got 1,335 days left. This is no question in my mind the days that are shortened. Specifically, 100%. You thought from this point on, you got this many more days. For the sake of the elect, from this point on, you got 45 more days. So blessed is he who just keeps waiting and attains that goal. But as for you, go your way to the end. Then you will enter into rest and rise again for your allotted portion at the end of the age. At the end of the age. But go your way till the end be, and you shall rest, and shall stand in your allotted place. At the end of the days you will rest, and you then at the end of the days you will rise to receive your allotted inheritance. You'll rise to your destination at the end of the days. Daniel 31, I left off at. Forces will arise and will take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that makes it desolate. That would be the final Antichrist movement. By smooth words, he will turn to godliness those who act wickedly toward the covenant. But the people who know their God will display strength and take action. So this could also have taken place 42 months ago, where by smooth words he will come in. Someone with smooth words will come in, take away the daily sacrifice. Like behind the scenes, the crowning, it's all what they know behind the scenes. Has the truth has been hidden, kept aside. They're holding the rain from coming down from heaven. Those two witnesses have the ability to do that. Those who have insight, well, he shall seduce with flatteries those who violate the covenant, but the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. So if they seduce them with flattery words and get them to commit the host body act, and then but there's a drought, because this time, even if you did sow and reap your windwhirl, but even if you did do that, someone's going to eat your fruit anyway. Those who have insight among the people will give understanding to the many, yet they will fall by the sword and by flame, by captivity and plunder for many days. So this is that 45-day period. Sounds like. Now when they fall, they will be granted with a little bit of help. So they'll be helped. They shall receive a little bit of help. And many will join with them in hypocrisy. So when they fall, they shall be hoping with a little help. But many are going to cleave to them with Klingon flatteries. Some of those who have insight will fall in order to refine, purge, and make them pure until the end time, because it is still for an appointed time. Then the king will do as he pleases, and he will exalt and magnify himself above every god, and will speak monstrous things against the God of gods, and he will prosper until the indignation is finished, for that which is decreed will be done. He will show no regard for the gods of his fathers, or the desire of women. Well, I mean, did you ever think that the Antichrist is a woman, so it has no regard for women? Like it's not interested, God of his ancestors, for one desired, or for the one desired by women. Nor will he regard any God, but will exalt himself above them all. But instead he will honor a God of fortress, a God whom his fathers did not know. He will honor him with gold, silver, costly stones, and treasures. He will honor a God of fortress, a God whom his fathers did not know. He will honor him with gold, silver, costly stones. He shall honor the God of fortresses. A military stronghold, especially a strongly fortified town fit for a large garrison. Fortified place, a large and permanent fortification, sometimes including a town, a fort, a castle, a stronghold, a place of defense or security, chess, a position that, if attained by the weaker side, will prevent penetration by the opposing side, generally achieving a draw. A structure or place from which one can resist attack. All right, so he will choose, instead of them, he will honor a god of fortress, a god unknown to his ancestors. He will honor with gold and silver and, like here, a god instead of them. It's like all this power is going to be given. The 10 kings give their power to the beast, right? They did it before, they're doing it again. And this time, if he honors a god of fortresses, which is like a god of protection, which is unknown to his fathers' fathers, like all the, if you look at it from the Masonic line down, I don't see this particularly being a bad thing, because if you're somebody who's not going to honor the God of your fathers, and it's been wicked ever since, and then you take this prey and the spoil and the riches and you scatter them, you spread them evenly to others. If you instead honor a God of fortress, if you honor a God of a structured place of which one can resist attacks, or any fortified place, a castle, stronghold, defense, the English have a strong fortress on the rock, or that rock is a fortress, which is the defense, safety, security. The Lord is my rock and my fortress. Wow, this always seems negative, like it's a bad thing. So I just look at it from both sides of the table there. He will take action against the strongest of fortresses with the help of a foreign god, so nobody even knows what this god is. He will give great honor to those who acknowledge him. Who? The god or him? Because of course it's going to be a lowercase. Who acknowledge him, and will cause them to rule over the many, and will parcel out land for a price, and shall divide the land for a price. He will distribute the land at a price. This says, making them rulers over many and distributing land as a reward, and shall divide the land for gain. At the end time, the king of the south will collide with him, and the king of the north will storm against him with chariots. So you must be talking about the western tyrant. I can't help but think Enki and Lil Marduk. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, but the king of the north shall rush upon him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall come into countries and shall overflow and pass through. He will also enter the beautiful land, and many countries will fall, but these will be rescued out of his hand: Edom, Moab, and the foremost of the sons of Ammon. Then he will stretch out his hand against the other countries, and the land of Egypt will not escape. Edom, Egypt, Esau, Edomites. Then he will stretch out his hand against the other countries, and the land of Egypt will not escape, but he will gain control over the hidden treasures of gold. And so he shall become ruler of the treasures of gold and silver and all precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and Cushites shall follow in his train. The Libyans and Cushites in submission will also be in submission, will be at his steps. But here's the thing: the rumors from the east and from the north will trouble him. At one point he's going to be troubled, and he will go forth with great wrath to destroy and annihilate many. News from the east and from the north shall alarm him, shall trouble him, shall terrify him. Now, terrify, if you fear something, but it's a healthy fear of God, like you fear God with a great respect, it could be the reports from the east and the north will terrify him, and he will go out with great fury to annihilate and completely destroy many, many who? He will pitch the tents of his royal pavilion between the seas and the beautiful holy mountain. Yet he will come to his end, and no one will help him. And no one will help him. He shall come to his end with none to help him. So it sounds like nobody's going to help him. Michael's deliverance at the end times. Now, at that time, Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise. And there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. And at that time, your people, everyone who is found written in the book, will be rescued. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will await these to everlasting life, but to others, disgrace and everlasting contempt. Those who have insight will shine brightly like the brightness of the firmament of the heavens, and those who lead many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But as for you, Daniel, conceal these words and seal up the book until the end of the time. Many will go back and forth, and knowledge will increase. The only way I can see Daniel shutting up is if he's like silent somehow. Because just telling him to shut up doesn't seem to work with the words and the sealed book. Until the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, two others were standing, one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank. And one said to the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, like, how long will it be until the end of these wonders? I heard the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, as he raised his right hand and his left hand towards heaven, and swore by him who lives forever, that it would be for a time, times and a half. So 3.5 of something. And as soon as they finish scattering the power of the holy people, all these events will be completed. As soon as they accomplish to scatter the power of the holy people has been finally broken, and all these things will be accomplished. Like, as soon as that happens, it's finished. Because the seventh angel sounded his trumpet and said it was finished. And Christ was on the cross and said, it is finished. As for me, I heard, but could not understand, so I said, my Lord, what will be the outcome of these events? Can you tell me, like, how this will take place? He said, go your way, Daniel, for these words are concealed and sealed up until the end time. Many will be purged, purified, and refined, but the wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand. But those who have insight will understand. So from the time that the regular sacrifice is abolished and the abomination of desolation is set up, there will be 1,290 days. From the time that it takes, 70th year, nation of Israel, 1,290 days, Thanksgiving, getting rid of the thanks and the giving at the end of this time frame. From this point on, even 40 days more. January 4th, 3.5 days or so after. So they're going to be exchanging gifts one to another at one point. And then you give it a few more days after that. How blessed is he who waits the 1,335th day. But as for you, go your way to the MB. You will rest and rise again for your allotted portion at the end of the age. It definitely sounds like the truth gets shut down on YouTube. The evil take over, and all that stuff takes place. And then, but you just wait a little bit more, a little bit longer.
Alpha. Great Lakes oil tragedy. Enbridge oil pipeline leak.
There's a leak.
Right there.
Like a snake.
Okay. Matches. Perfect match, as it is written. Enbridge oil pipeline leak. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is instead of putting a leak on there, we're going to show you something here. I just want to give you a little heads up here.
Instead of putting a leak, deteriorate, scatter, destroy.
Deteriorate. Enbridge oil pipeline. There you go. Don't believe me. Father speaks to me every day, every minute, every day, whenever. It's like on demand. You know, it is what it is. I don't care if you believe me or not. But
sounds like you do. See, I think Steve's little demon in his head just said, I don't believe you. And he's like, I don't care if you believe me or not.
they better shut that pipeline down if it's not already shut down. You're worried about money? It'll cost billions to clean up the Great Lakes. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. Figure out another way to get oil here for the time being, or at least until it's repaired, because Father tells me it's going to go. And when it goes, it's going to make a mess. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You worried about money? Lex talking about Thanksgiving and things taking place. Steve shows you 1290. I was going to do a video.
Leak.
I was going to do a video today on the timeline regardless. And I see that. And then I see this. And it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. It's the abomination that makes it desolate. It does take 1290 days in order for that to take place. At the 70th year, the AD, the temple being destroyed, 42 months, you come in to fully, completely destroy the entire system from the inside out, because that's the job that particular person, people, groups of people were supposed to do for God. And it's going to look horrible, of course, but the world's ending. Of course it's going to look horrible. But God is taking full control of the entire situation now. A lot of people say God doesn't do anything. Like, what does God do? Well, God just waits for everybody to run its course. And then God shows the outcome of being patient and suffering through it. It took 1290 days in order for the daily sacrifice to be taken away and the abomination that makes it desolate set up. What makes it desolate? Collapsing the entire money system. And then what would make you think of a wounded head and living again? Another currency being controlled by the Antichrist, which has to do with not being able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast or without the name of the beast, like Cain, without the mark itself, like the description of what the mark is as a birthmark, which is being born again in this system. The abomination of desolation standing in the holy place. Your body is a host body. Your host body becomes a holy place right here because it's reconstructive surgery.
Let me show you something. I want to show you just a quick.
Here's what I see. 3 strikes. And your channel is out. Come the 1290th day.